You ever hit that wall in the afternoon? Like your brain just gives up. Or maybe you wake up feeling like you could sleep for another week straight.
Oh yeah, that's all too familiar.
We're going deep on energy today, and I mean deep. Like beyond drink more water and get 8 hours.
Right, got to go deeper than the surface level stuff.
We dug into an episode of Health Talks with Harry and Daniel, and let me tell you, it was packed with stuff I'd never even considered.
That's awesome. Always love finding new insights.
They met a really interesting point about how we always oversimplify tiredness.
Yeah, it's like we just expect one solution to fix everything.
They said it's not just how much sleep you get, it's the quality that matters.
Totally. I feel like I could sleep for 10 hours and still feel exhausted if it's constantly interrupted.
Exactly. And they mentioned that blue light, from our phones and stuff, it really messes with our sleep hormones.
Oh yeah, blue light's a huge culprit. It suppresses melatonin production, so it makes it way harder to fall asleep.
I knew that blue light was bad, but I'm curious, is all blue light created equal?
That's a great question. So the blue light from our screens is especially bad because it's just super intense.
So it's like concentrated blue light.
Yeah, exactly. And the closer you hold your phone or tablet, the worse it gets.
Oh, interesting point. So dimming the screen isn't enough.
Right. The distance from the screen also makes a big difference. So no reading in bed with the phone right up in your face.
Noted. What about those blue light blocking glasses? Do those actually work?
The research is still kind of new on those, but some studies do show they can help with eye strain and sleep.
Okay, good to know. I might have to try a pair. The other thing that really stuck with me from the podcast was how much they talked about food.
Makes sense, right? What you eat impacts your energy levels big time.
I know. But they weren't just talking about, don't skip breakfast. They went way deeper, talking about how processed foods mess with your blood sugar.
Yeah, it's all about that glycemic index thing. You know how some foods spike your blood sugar really fast?
Right, you get that sugar rush and then you crash.
Exactly. Processed foods tend to be high on that index, so they cause those huge ups and downs that leave you feeling totally drained.
So what should we be eating instead to keep our energy steady?
Think balanced meals with good protein, healthy fats, and those complex carbs.
Okay, so instead of a bag of chips, I should grab some nuts and an apple or something.
Exactly. Those kinds of foods have a lower glycemic index, so they give you that steady energy release without the crash.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I'm starting to see how everything's connected. One of the hosts, Daniel, he talked about how he used to skip breakfast and then just feel completely wiped by mid-morning. I've totally been there.
Oh yeah, that's so relatable. It's easy to underestimate how much food affects our energy.
All right, so we've talked about sleep quality and what we eat, but there's another big energy drainer we haven't touched on yet: stress.
Definitely. They talked about that in the episode too, right?
They did, but I think it's worth digging into a little deeper.
For sure. Chronic stress is rough. It really takes a toll.
In what way?
Well, when you're stressed out all the time, your body's stuck in that fight or flight mode.
I see. So it's not just that stress makes us feel tired. It actually has a real physical impact on our bodies.
Exactly. Your body is pumping out cortisol like crazy, and that's great in small doses, but long term, not so much. It just depletes you.
Okay, so it's like constantly running your engine at top speed. Eventually, something's got to give.
Exactly. That's a great analogy.
So it seems like finding ways to manage stress is crucial if we want to keep our energy levels up.
Couldn't agree more. And they had some great tips on that too. Deep breathing, meditation, those sorts of things.
Yeah, those are great. But I've also heard some people say that intense exercise is actually the best way to combat stress. What do you think about that?
That's a good point. Any type of exercise helps, but high-intensity stuff like HIIT, that can be really effective for lowering cortisol.
So it's like training your body to handle stress better.
Yep, exactly. It helps you build that resilience.
So instead of just telling ourselves to chill out, we need to actually be working on becoming more stress resistant.
Exactly. It's not about avoiding stress altogether. It's about learning how to deal with it in a healthy way.
So we can't really just erase stress from our lives, right?
Nope, not unless we want to move to a deserted island and live off the land.
Not a bad idea. But seriously, stress is just a part of life.
It is. And it's not always a bad thing either, right? It can motivate us, help us perform under pressure.
True. But it's all about finding that balance.
Absolutely, learning to manage it so it doesn't totally burn us out.
And that's where those practical tips they talked about on the podcast come in, right?
Exactly. I love that they didn't just leave us hanging with a bunch of theory. They actually gave us some real actionable things we can do.
Yeah, like something as basic as staying hydrated.
It sounds almost too simple, right?
I know, but they made a good point about how even mild dehydration can make you feel sluggish.
It's true. Your brain needs water to function properly.
Daniel actually said that just carrying a water bottle around with him all day made a huge difference. Have you heard that drinking water first thing in the morning can boost your metabolism?
I have. And there's some truth to it. It helps rehydrate you after sleeping, and it can kind of kickstart your digestion too.
Okay, so guzzling water first thing, that's going on my to-do list. They also talked a lot about movement.
Oh yeah, getting that blood flowing.
And they weren't talking about crazy workouts either, just like incorporating little bursts of activity throughout the day.
Right, even just taking a quick walk can make a difference. Gets more oxygen to your brain.
Yeah, Daniel mentioned how he would hit that afternoon slump and instead of reaching for another coffee, he'd go for a brisk walk.
I love that. Way healthier than caffeine overload.
For sure. I am totally trying that next time I feel that post-lunch fog rolling in. What about light? They talked about getting sunlight in the morning.
That's a big one. It's so important for regulating your circadian rhythm, that internal clock that tells your body when to sleep is when to wake up.
Ugh, yeah. I am so guilty of hitting snooze and hiding under the covers.
So tempting, especially when it's cold and dark outside. But even just a few minutes of sunlight can make a big difference.
So opening the blinds while I'm chugging my water, that's a win-win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Double energy boost right there. They also answered some listener questions in the podcast, like, remember that one about energy drinks? Quick fix or recipe for disaster?
Oh, yeah. I've definitely wondered about that. What's the verdict?
Well, they said that energy drinks can give you a temporary boost because of the caffeine and sugar.
That's what I figured, but it's got to be short-lived, right?
Right, and it usually comes with a nasty crash afterward. Plus, too many energy drinks can mess with your heart and your sleep.
So moderation is key. And maybe choose those low-sugar versions if you gotta have one.
Definitely. Oh, and the other question was about energy-boosting snacks. What to grab when you need a quick pick-me-up.
Yes. What did they recommend?
They said to go for snacks with a good combo of protein, healthy fats, and fiber.
Okay, so what does that look like in real life?
Like apple slices with almond butter, or Greek yogurt with berries, or just a handful of nuts.
Daniel was all about the almonds. He said they're easy to carry around and they give you that protein and healthy fat boost.
Almonds are great. Hard-boiled eggs are another good one, super easy to prep ahead of time.
So it seems like finding sustainable energy isn't about some magic bullet. It's about making healthy choices throughout the day, building good habits.
Exactly. It's about sleep, hydration, food, managing stress, all those things working together.
And remembering those little hacks like sunlight and movement.
Right. Small changes, big impact. It's about taking control of your energy instead of letting it control you.
Love that.
So are you ready for a final thought, something to ponder as we wrap this up?
Always. Hit me with it.
We've talked a lot about healthy eating for energy, but what if there's even more to it?
What do you mean?
Like maybe certain foods or even supplements can give you a bigger boost than others.
Interesting. Like what kind of things?
Well, there's research that suggests certain nutrients are really important for energy production, like B vitamins and iron.
So it's possible I'm missing out on some key nutrients without even realizing it.
Exactly. Or maybe there are certain foods that are just powerhouses when it comes to energy. Things full of antioxidants, or those adaptogenic herbs everyone's talking about.
So it's not just about what we avoid eating, it's about what we add to our diets to really boost our energy levels.
I like the way you think. It's like taking it to the next level.
I'm into it. This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. It's not just about feeling less tired, it's about feeling truly energized, you know?
Totally. Vibrant, alive, ready to take on the world.
Yes, that's the feeling.
And remember, this isn't one size fits all. What works for me might not work for you.
Yeah.
So keep experimenting, keep learning, and find what really fuels your energy.
So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep that energy flowing. So much good stuff to remember. It feels like we've really gone deep on this whole energy thing.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground. It's not just one thing, right?
Yeah.
It's about taking a whole body approach.
Exactly. So let's recap those key takeaways one more time.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Well, sleep's got to be at the top of the list.
Definitely. And remember, it's about quality, not just quantity.
Right. So like no scrolling through social media in bed, no matter how tempting it is.
Exactly. Put those screens away an hour or two before bed.
And if you're having trouble sleeping, like it's a regular thing, maybe talk to your doctor. There could be something else going on.
Good point. It's always worth getting checked out if something feels off.
Okay, so sleep, check. What's next?
Food. Gotta be food. What we eat has such a huge impact on our energy levels.
It's crazy how much of a difference it makes.
Right. So ditch the processed junk and focus on those balanced meals.
Protein, healthy fats, complex carbs.
You got it.
I'm never looking at a bag of chips the same way again.
And remember those little everyday habits too?
Oh yeah, like staying hydrated.
So important.
I'm seriously going to invest in a giant water bottle, just carry it everywhere.
And movement. Even if it's just a few minutes here and there.
Taking the stairs instead of the elevator, parking farther away from the store, all those little things add up.
Totally. And don't forget about stress management.
Deep breaths, meditation, walks in nature.
Find what works for you.
Oh, and that morning sunlight. It's like a free energy boost, straight from nature.
Can't beat that.
So much good stuff to try. This deep dive has been amazing.
Me too. I always learn so much from these conversations.
And you know what? It's not even about just feeling less tired. It's about feeling truly energized.
I love that. Vibrant, alive, ready to tackle whatever comes your way.
Exactly. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that energy flowing.
And until next time, stay energized, everyone.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.